OBS, are you opening, please? Hello. Today is going to be a rather, what do you call it? Controversial for all the right reasons. And it's no coincidence that I'm wearing my cat ears again, because the last time that I had a very controversial video that the right-winger people didn't like, they called me a furry, which I thought was so fantastic, because these aren't even furry. These are rubber. So call me a rubber, I guess. Which the Americans would laugh at, because rubbers are apparently condoms in America. Yeah, I learned that from a American exchange student, where she was basically like, yeah, every time Australians ask me, like, if I'm in class and someone goes, hey, can I have a rubber? To her, she's like, the fuck? A rubber? We're in class right now. And it's like, no, I mean an eraser. Oh. Yeah, so today is going to be a doozy of an episode. I wanted to get it done swiftly, so it's like almost 8:30. Usually I get started at 9, but I want to get this done swiftly because I want to play some more Resident Evil 2. However, I was doing research just 5 minutes ago, and I became interested in talking about this subject of we're going to talk about Australian politics, basically. Yeah. For a good reason, because there's a lot of misinformation in Australian politics. Unfortunately, we have the Murdoch media, which essentially owns like all of Australian television. Sorry, I have my water bottle here, my hot water bottle, because it's cold today. It's a cold summer day. Well, summer mornings are always kind of cold. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about Peter Dutton. We're gonna be talking about Peter Dutton, one of the running prime ministers, and we're gonna be talking about his policies, and we're gonna be focusing pretty much on him today. Again, I'm not telling you like, well, if you're not gonna vote, you shouldn't vote Peter Dutton, so that means you should vote for like fucking Anthony Albanese, which is basically like our left-leaning dude. But the problem is, a lot of people don't like either Anthony Albanese or Peter Dutton, so it is interesting to see. I think a lot of people wanting to vote for the Greens party, which is like a way more left-leaning party than I think Anthony Albanese. I don't know. It's hard to say, because it's hard to talk about our politics to people who are foreign to Australia, because we have Liberal and then we have Labour. And for us, the Liberals are the right-wing people, or like they have right-wing policies, right? I don't like to put just like left and right-wing labels on things, but I guess for the sake of familiarity? Wow, why can't I say that today? Yeah, so for the sake of just like that, I'll probably say that, but we're gonna go through Peter Dutton and what he votes for in Parliament. Just to get an idea of the things that he actually votes for. Because you know what happens a lot, and I think everyone all around the world experiences this, is that a party member will say, I'm for this, I'm for that, and then their voting habits are very different to what they say they are. And that's really sneaky. That's really downright deceitful, actually. And so today we're going to talk about Peter Dutton specifically. Maybe I'll do one on the other party members, because I'm also interested in it. I think that it's worth investigating more of this stuff, and you know, being knowledgeable about these things is always important, because if you find yourself needing to talk, or the subject of politics even come up, it's important to be well equipped with the facts. And there's this wonderful website called theyvoteforyou.org.au, which calculates the way that people vote. And I'll actually show you in a second all the stuff about it, or like how they weigh the votes. Anyways, we're gonna be talking about that. If we have more time, I did want to talk about Lizzo. Which is funny, because this morning I woke up and that was like the first thing I saw. So I was like, okay, Lizzo. There's something about Lizzo that's happening with the weight discussion, and I know, I was thinking to myself this morning when I was drinking my first coffee, I was like, how do we always talk about weight at some point in the podcast? Like, a lot of episodes are just to do with weight, and I guess that's just like, it's just one of those things that really interests me. I guess the way that society and stuff, we all think about weight very differently. We all have very different experiences, right? And I just think it's so interesting to me. Anyway, so the Lizzo thing is a very, well, I think it's interesting. Some people might be a little bit fucking canceling, like people cancel people over like the smallest shit. Could be someone else. But yeah, so I don't know, and then after that, I don't know what else we're gonna talk about. Actually, I'm like through my second coffee almost, so I'm a little bit buzzy right now. I want to touch base on the Tibet video real quick. Okay, so I was reading through my comments, as I am gonna start doing now, because everyone keeps saying, like, if you get comments, you need to respond to them because it's good for the algorithm. So I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I was like, whatever, right? So I was reading through the comments, and like, there was a comment, someone being like, did you know that the serfs in Tibet actually rebelled a lot against like their oppressors, their lords and shit, and there was a lot of violent rebellion against them? Nice try, CIA. Okay. Number one, if you actually watch the fucking video, you would know that I never said that the serfs or the serf feudal system, I don't think you can't even really call it a feudal system, but the serf system wasn't great. That's number one. I never said it was better. Yeah, actually, I don't know how many other points I had to make about that. I never said it was a good thing, right? I think that's pretty clear. I never outright said, yo, the serf system's fucking sick. Let's go back to that. No, I remember specifically I said that it was actually a pretty primitive system. They were an underdeveloped economic society, and I think a lot of that is like, yeah, it was primitive. That's 100%. They didn't have a great system, and the lords in that system definitely exercised their powers to punish the serfs if they saw it fit to be so. And I think in their society there was also like a bottom of the barrel type of person where they were called, I think they were called the untouchables or something, where if like if a Dalai Lama or a Dalai Lama was coming through town, the people would come ahead and be like, hey, you gotta fucking hide or some shit because the Dalai Lama must not see you, you disgusting untouchable. Like, that is like something that happened. But I would like to point out that you say that there was rebellions, and I said, can I see a source? Because you must have some pretty awesome evidentiary support, primary sources and that, of this happening, because from all the research that I did, there is no academic consensus on how Tibetan society was before the brutal annexation of them. There wasn't. There is no academic, yes, this definitely happened, that definitely happened. There is very little about Tibetan society before then, unfortunately. And like I said in my video, I think that might be because of the Chinese Red Guards and the way that they went through all the temples, they went through and they looted so much of the Tibetan stuff. They burned books, they burned anything that was reminiscent of the past 3 or the past 5 or whatever the fuck it was, which was very religiously driven or anti-religiously driven. But even then, in a time like that where it was so chaotic, so violent, I doubt that the Red Guards were looking through all the books and being like, oh wow, yeah, this one, no, we can keep this one, this one's actually like not about what, no, they were just chucking whatever on the fire going, fuck yeah, let's fuck this up. And so my final point is that, no, Tibetan society wasn't any greater. It's not something that I want them to go back to. I don't think anyone is saying they want it to go back to the way it was before, if that all that stuff is true. But it's kind of hard to take that at face value when you can't provide sources. And so I am eagerly waiting for your reply. I haven't checked in the past few days if you've replied, but I have a feeling you won't. And I will not be accepting any sources that come from China, because there is a clear fucking bias there. So if you have any sources from China, just forget about that. Just forget about that. I'm not accepting that. Sorry. Sorry. And then if you actually watched my video, you would see that one of the biggest points is that China is culturally assimilating Tibet, the Tibetan way of life, which is mostly spiritual and religious, has been absolutely demolished. Absolutely demolished. They are eroding at it. And then China is basically just... Jeez, there's a word I want to use, but I'm not going to because it's very... It's very, like, outright. But do you see what I mean? The Tibetans aren't experiencing a better way of life. China will have you believe that they, and this is Chinese propaganda, that they rescued the Tibetans from a brutal, terrible way of life. And if you watch the video, once again, I'm saying this because I know you didn't, the Tibetans were already on their way to reforming their culture. We know that because the 13th Dalai Lama was actually trying to create more of like a government. They were trying to create more of a more positive society. The 13th Dalai Lama did, I think, inevitably fail. I think because he died. I think he died like kind of early in his life. And there's a lot of suspicious Dalai Lama deaths throughout history. I think there was one that died when he was like 22 or something from... I don't think they even know how he died. I think they think he was poisoned or something. And then isn't it interesting how China won't let the current Dalai Lama be spoken about at all in Tibet? Their spiritual head, you cannot look at pictures of him, you can't put up pictures of him, you have to have fucking pictures of fucking Mao up. I'm just saying that. But no, seriously though, the Tibetan religious spiritual leader is like, you can't talk about him at all? Don't you think that's kind of fucked up? Like I said, Jesus Christ, if you're religious and suddenly a country invade, like, I don't know, imagine fucking some country invades you and they're like, you can't put up pictures of Jesus anymore. You can't even talk about Jesus. When you talk about your religion, you just can't talk about Jesus. And it's like, if you're a Christian, Jesus is kind of a big part of the religion, right? Kind of a big part. And if he was alive right now, oh my god, if your Jesus was alive right now, walking around, and then he got exiled from your country, wouldn't you be upset about it? I don't know. That's just what I'm saying. So, yeah, to put it bluntly, you didn't watch the video. You clearly are not that well read about the subject, because you are literally spouting Chinese propaganda. So, yeah. And that's all I have to say about that. And also, calling me the CIA, I'm Australian. You do realize there's other countries out there, right? I'm from Australia. I know we get forgotten about a lot, but I really think the CIA, or like, you think I'm getting all my information from the CIA? I even talked about the CIA in my video. I even talked about their involvement. And, you know, I've been thinking about this a lot too, where, like, I think people are... What's the word? God, I've been thinking about this word all weekend, but I keep forgetting it. It's like, you're totally saying that, like, oh, because the CIA was involved with, like, the Tibetan guerrilla rebellion, or an attempted one, that means that everything that Tibetans want or do is now, you're just like, it doesn't matter. CIA was involved, doesn't matter. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? And it's like, yeah, the US wanted to get involved for their own reasons. I'm not saying that they were getting involved because there's some altruistic force of good. No one's saying that. I don't think anyone believes that of, like, any country. I don't think any country really is, like, an altruistic force for good. Maybe except for, like, the Sweden and, like, Finland and shit, where, like, they actually take care of their people. No, of course, no one's saying that the CIA is a force for good. Jesus Christ. I don't know, like, what is this fucking brain rot where you're like, that's a CIA take. Again, that's like... Ugh. God. Yeah. I know. People hate America so much. Even Americans themselves are so self-hating at this point that it's like, well, I'm actually pro-China. The fuck? It's like, you people have become so used to your way of life. You've become so... really lost for words today. Complacent. You've become so complacent with your way of living that if you actually had to live in China, it would be like fucking whiplash. You'd have to get real used to piping the fuck down. You wouldn't be able to do a lot of what you can do. I don't want to, me personally, I mean, maybe you do want to live in a country where you can't criticize your own government, or where you don't have really a say in who is even in the government. Fuck, maybe that's the way you want to live, and if that is the way you want to live, then damn, it's not the way I want to live. I actually enjoy being able to criticize the government, and this video is going to be an exercise of that. Yeah. And I'm going to enjoy the freedoms I have while I can. So, yep, that's my Tibet touch and base top deal situation. I've got to stop saying that, oh my god. Sorry, Amblin Reed has really really affected my vocal stimming. So, first things first, I want to talk to you about They Vote For You. So let me put in this timestamp. 1740. They vote for you. They vote for you. Okay, they do. They vote for you. So, this website, They Vote For You, is an Australian website that basically takes all the votes that Parliament members do and it'll rate them. Now this one is about how voted consistently against is worked out. So, They Vote For You gives each vote a score based on whether the MP voted in agreement with the policy or not. Straightforward. These scores are then averaged with a weighting across all votes that the MP could have voted on relevant to the policy. The overall average score is then converted to a simple English language phrase based on the range of values it's within. When an MP votes in agreement with a policy, the vote is scored as 100%. When they vote against, the policy is scored at 0%. And when they are absent, it is scored halfway between the two at 50%. The halfway point effectively says, we don't know whether they are for or against this policy. The overall agreement score for the policy is worked out by a weighted average of the scores for each vote. The weighting has been chosen so that the most important votes have a weighting 5 times that of the less important votes. Also, absent votes and less important votes are weighted 5 times less, again to not penalise MPs for not attending the less important votes. Pressure of other work means MPs or senators are not always available to vote. It doesn't always mean they've abstained. Yeah, they have a lot to do in their jobs, I guess. So here we have a little table. Most important votes. MP voted with, against, absent. 25, 25, 25. Number of votes. Number of votes. Okay, less important votes. There's 100%, 0%, 50. Okay, 5, 5, 1. Okay. Average agreement score equals the sum of the... okay. And this average agreement score between 95 to 100% becomes voted consistently for. Between 85 and 95% becomes voted almost always for. Okay, we might keep this open so we can keep that in mind. Wow. So if you get voted consistently for, that's like you are hitting all those yes votes. Like pretty much anyway. So that is pretty relevant information. Voted consistently against between 0% and 5%. Means, yeah, again, you're like pretty much voting yes or no a lot. Duh. Sorry, I just had to dumb it down for myself. Alright, so we got Peter Dutton, they vote for you. So, starting off with, they consistently voted against. So Peter Dutton has... oh yeah, I'll go up to the top. Here's Peter Dutton's page. Look at that lovely, lovely potato head. Sorry, I shouldn't resort to ad hominem attacks. I know. Forget about that one. Okay, a carbon price. He voted against a carbon price. Now, I believe a carbon price is when you tax corporations for going over the carbon cap or something. Yeah, so he voted consistently against a carbon price. Oh, let's open this. What is carbon price? Oh shit. Look at who's voting for the carbon price. Oh my god. Wow, we got some real people in the fucking Australian Parliament. Holy shit. Oh, this dude. I feel like I've seen him before. Wow, great. So who votes against? Wow, these are some pictures. Holy moly. Oh my god, I feel like I'm seeing all these people for the... I am seeing all these people for the first time and holy shit. That's scary to look at. Oh, we can't say anything concrete about Pauline Hanson. Okay. Yep. Carbon price. Okay, well, maybe I'd like to look into what the carbon price actually is. Oh, the federal government should introduce a carbon pricing mechanism. Does it say anything about that? Okay, well, do what you will with that information. I haven't looked into the carbon pricing stuff. Yeah. Yes, I wonder, can you look at this? Clean energy legislation. The carbon pricing mechanism commenced on the 1st of July 2012. It is an emissions trading scheme that puts a price on carbon emissions, applies to liable entities, a group that includes companies that emit high level of greenhouse gases. So essentially, they want to tax large corporations for their fucking greenhouse gas emissions because it is quite literally R-wording the planet. Or should I say graping? The grapes are happening to our planet because of large corporations and the fact that we ourselves, the smaller people, just because we use fucking those shitty straws, those shitty fucking paper straws, that is not gonna... I mean, it's a good step, right? But it's not gonna change what the big companies are doing. And Peter Dutton is against that, so... I mean, look, it's a pretty easy dub for you if you don't believe in climate change. But if you don't believe in climate change, then I mean, just like... there's no point in you watching this video, I guess. There's no point in you even looking at my channel, honestly. This is the third time that this bill has been... this package of bills has been introduced. Okay, yeah. Okay, well, there you go. That's Peter Dutton. He's against a carbon price. Sweet. Minerals resource rent tax. What the hell is that? A Royal Commission into Violence and Abuse Against People with Disability. Yeah, so we've been having problems where there's a lot of people in aged care that are, or people with disabilities who don't have family members to look after them, or their family members are probably like too busy. And so there's been a lot of abuse in those sectors because they are filled with I guess people who are also don't care about their jobs, I guess. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I think it's hard to look after people with disabilities, and I think that's a really tough job to have, and they don't get paid enough. Let's make that clear. They don't get paid enough for the shit that they have to literally deal with. However, that doesn't excuse violence and abuse against those people. And so I think yeah, the left people want to put a royal commission that investigates these things and actually like holds these people accountable for what they do. So let's have a look. The majority voted against a motion introduced by Labour MP. Means the motion failed. The motion didn't change the bill in any way, but instead asked for the government to establish a royal commission to finally. Okay, yep. Related divisions. Okay, well, people don't want a royal commission to that. Okay, so Peter Dutton said no to that. A transition plan for coal workers. Now, what people don't realize is that the move to renewable energy that the left government wants, they have a transition plan so that coal workers aren't left without a job once coal is eventually deprecated. And so coal workers are not forgotten about. In fact, they're very much in the front of the minds of these people who want renewable energy. And renewable energy is a technology that is advancing more and more as time goes on. And it's only getting better and more efficient. Now, some people who may have bought their like solar panels like 5-10 years ago, your solar panels are going to be like not as great as the solar panels you can get today. So, you know, that's one thing. And you know, interestingly, China is actually doing a big move to go, oh, my eyebrow pencil. They're making a big move to get more renewable energy in China. And I think actually one of the reasons of my Tibet thing that they had a year where their emissions went up a lot is because they were producing more solar panels than they ever had before. There was such a big demand for them. And I think that's good that China was doing that. You know, if I can say one thing, at least China is seemingly pretty dedicated to their net carbon neutrality by like what, 2050 or something. At least they're fucking dedicated to it. Like they seem to be working for it. Not gonna lie. So I guess there's something about them that's awesome. So yeah, the left do want a transition plan for coal workers. Peter Dutton doesn't want one. And it does make sense that he would say no to it because he plans to keep coal. What Peter Dutton has said he wants to do is create like nuclear power. And yes, a lot of people love nuclear power. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantasy at this point. And the problem is the time that Peter Dutton will be in office is not nearly enough time for a nuclear power plant to be built and working. I think that like what people don't understand is that a lot of the places that do have nuclear power have already got like the infrastructure. They already have all the stuff going for them. It took them a while to get there, but they've got it established. Peter Dutton doesn't have a plan for the increase in energy demand because as we know, the population increases. The increase for energy also increases, even if we are having a worse birth rate at the moment. Peter Dutton doesn't have a plan for that. His plan is going off of the idea that the energy demands are just flatlined, just the same as they are. It's gonna take like a decade to get a nuclear power plant. It's gonna take like a decade. And then in the meantime, while we're doing that, he wants coal to still be going. So He doesn't want to ban pay secrecy clauses. So here's the thing. So although it's not really like illegal to talk about your paycheck with like other fellow employees, employers are allowed to put clauses in your contract where you cannot talk about it. And so the left government wants to actually ban these pay secrecy clauses altogether. So if you are an employer, you are not allowed to enforce or, you know, put that in their contracts. You're not allowed to do that. That's what the left wants. And I'm all for that. I think the more people are able to talk about these things, the better. Because then people can be like, hey, why are we doing the same job but you're getting paid more than me? This transparency and power to the workers is important. Far more important than the fucking big corporations wanting to, you know, shirk you for any penny that you could get. Left or right, I think we can all agree with that. Building dedicated quarantine facilities for COVID, he doesn't want that. Okay. Capping gas prices. He doesn't want to cap gas prices? Oh my god! Isn't this whole guy's whole thing is that he wants to make everything more affordable? He's doing the Donald Trump stuff, let's be honest. Wow. Wait, okay. What? Okay, let's read this. Let's read this. God, it's so silent. Ugh, God, how do we do this? The majority voted in favor of a motion to agree with the bill. The House will now decide whether to pass the bill, known as reading the bill as a third time. Oh. Regulating dealings between persons who supply or acquire gas commodity, with negotiations between them. Dealing with and resolving disputes or complaints between persons who apply. Heh. People who are for capping the gas prices would have voted yes. So Mary Colton Park said no. Who else said no? Bob Catter was absent. The Liberals, 5 no. Liberal. Oh, that's Liberal National Party. That's LNP. So the Liberal National Party is our big Lib Party, right? The Liberal Party, 25 no. National Party, no. Damn. So Liberals really didn't want that in there. No gas pricing. Or gas cap pricing. Okay. Said no to carbon farming. I think I've heard carbon farming a lot, but I don't know what it is. Realistically, this video that I'm making is all about just like, let's find out what this is about, you know? Okay, I keep clicking on the wrong thing. Sorry, it's my first time using this site on desktop. Okay, so this is carbon credits. Oh. Okay, hold on. The bill was introduced as part of the package for the carbon offset scheme. Carbon credits. Introducing the scheme of the bill's digest. A voluntary scheme that ain't. Whoa, wait, what? The bill's digest explains that the initiative will be a voluntary scheme that aims to provide incentives for the agricultural and forestry sectors to minimize carbon emissions or maximize carbon sequestration by altering their forestry and agricultural practices. To create okay, what are those incentives? So we want to protect Australia's natural environment and enhancing resilience to climate change. Oh, okay. Wow. Bob Catter was not there. Wow. The Liberal Party, 56 no's. So he was against the carbon farming stuff. Okay. Considering legislation to create a federal anti-corruption commission. Peter Dutton does not want an anti-corruption commission. Wow, I wonder why that is. Motions on Gaza? criminalizing wage theft. Peter Dutton does not want to criminalize wage theft. That's interesting. Why would anyone not want to do that? Wage theft is I'm actually surprised wage theft isn't already criminalized, honestly. How Peter Dutton voted compared to someone who agrees that employers should be able to criminally prosecute for intentionally stealing the wages of their employees. Wow. Fair work legislation amendment, closing loopholes. Wow. Let's have a look at this. The Fair Work legislation introducing a new definition of casual employee and an employee choice pathway for eligible casual employees to change to permanent employment if they wish to do so. Yeah, okay. Effectively reinstating the multifactorial test previously applied by courts and tribunals to determine if a worker is an employee or independent contractor. Preventing enterprise agreement wages from being undercut by the use of labour hire. Same job, same pay. Introducing a new criminal offence, allowing Fair Work Commission to set minimum standards for some, but not all, gig economy workers and road transport industry workers. So it sounds like if you're a trucker, or if you work in the gig economy, there's going to be some added protections there for you. That's what I'm surmising from that. Introducing a new Commonwealth criminal offence of industrial manslaughter. Oh my god, industrial manslaughter, that really gives you a thought. Introducing a rebuttal presumption that a first responder's employment significantly contributed to the contraction of post-traumatic stress disorder. Rebuttal presumption that I mean, I believe that paramedics do get PTSD quite easily, probably. Various other measures related to prohibiting discrimination against employees who have been or continue to be subjected to family domestic violence, changing the defense to sham contracting from a test of recklessness to one of reasonableness, and a range of other workplace relation measures which are not examined. Alright guys, we got Rebecca Sharkey Mayo sent her line. She said no. Mark Colton Bark said no. Whole bunch of no's here. Bob Catter was absent again. Bob Catter, what are you fucking doing? It's like he doesn't want to be here. So, the Liberal National Party, 9 no's, all no's. Liberal Party, 31 no's. The National Party, 10 no's. Yeah. So, yeah, would you look at that? Peter Dutton doesn't want wage theft criminalized. I don't know why you'd want that. He doesn't want to decrease the private health insurance rebate. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, when you're on private health insurance, you get a rebate at the end of the financial year, I guess, where you get money back what you paid. That's my understanding of it. And yeah, the left people do want to decrease the amount of rebate you get. Which, I will be honest, I don't understand it all that well. I don't understand why it matters that much. So why don't we read about it then? Let's have a read and see what it means. So, for the background to the bill. This bill also introduces a package to reduce the private health insurance rebate and increase the Medicare levy surcharge for certain taxpayers. Oh, okay. Create 3 private health insurance tiers with different levels of private health insurance rebate to reduce the amount of rebate eligible taxpayers with complying private health insurance entitled to when their income for surcharge purposes above the relevant Medicare levy surcharge threshold. Okay. So it sounds like what I'm guessing is that it's like if you're in a higher tax bracket, you shouldn't be allowed to get this rebate. That's what I'm thinking it is. Increase the rate of Medicare levy surcharge that you do not have complying. Sorry, my jaw's hurting. Increase the rate of Medicare levy surcharge for taxpayers who do not have complying health insurance and whose income including reportable fringe benefits for surcharges above the relevant Medicare levy surcharge threshold. Yeah, so it sounds like people who are higher up in the tax brackets. People who are for decreasing the private health rebate. Okay, well, I mean, for that one it's like, okay, don't understand it all that well, but you might agree or disagree with that, I don't know. We got doctor-initiated medical transfers for asylum seekers. Yes, Peter Dutton is very much for stopping the boats, which is... It's an age-old Australian political tradition, isn't it? To have your main political... Or one of the main points to be like, we're stopping the boats, so we ain't got no more boat people coming in, which... really quite something to listen to. And frankly, I don't think I've ever been concerned about the boats or boat people. I've never been concerned about it. I don't know why people are all scared of it. I really don't fucking get it. It's basically the same as like Donald Trump being like, the border, they're coming in from the border. Okay, I kind of roll my eyes at that, but whatever. Peter Dutton doesn't... Ending illegal logging. He is against ending illegal logging? Again, one of those things where it's like, why? Why would you be against that? That it doesn't make sense. Okay. So the bill will prohibit importing and selling all timber products that contain illegally logged timber and processing illegally harvested, domestically grown raw logs. Okay. So basically it's like, hey, you can't just go somewhere and start logging the area. Which I think has been a problem for like specifically like the koalas. Where koala habitats are being fucking wrecked from illegal logging. So basically what Peter Dutton is saying here is that he hates koalas. It's a joke, but it's also like, why wouldn't you want... Why would you want to keep illegal logging? Like, I don't understand that. So if you can tell me why illegal logging is good, please tell me. Okay. More immigration detention on Bass Island. Not really going to touch on that right now. Extending government benefits to same-sex couples. Extending government benefits to same-sex couples. Okay. What? What is this? Bill was introduced to amend the 14 Acts governing and regulating superannuation schemes in order to increase coverage of same-sex couples and their children. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay. Yeah, governing and regulating superannuation. Yeah, I don't know how much, I actually don't know too much about how being a same-sex couple influences your superannuation. I actually don't know. I imagine... Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, actually. But he doesn't want to do that. Whatever that is, he doesn't want to do it. Federal action on public housing. Yes, public housing is a very big thing at the moment because our current government recently, I think, demolished a bunch of public housing stuff, but then there was nothing to replace it. And so we are currently working on getting more replacement buildings, but the problem is it takes time to do that stuff. And so a lot of people were criticizing our current government, which is like the left people, Anthony Albanese, and they were criticizing them being like, well, why are you closing all these buildings that could house people? And again, don't know much about that scene. So a federal action on public housing would be increasing availability of affordable public housing around Australia. I think that public housing is a good thing. Look, those people who live in public housing, it's not a great, what am I trying to say? Listen, it's not really like all roses, you know, for them. And I would say that public housing is good. I know I know people who would have been homeless without public housing, and I think it's a good thing to have. I do. I think people deserve to be housed, and I don't see what's wrong with that or controversial. It's like, everyone wants to own a home, right? And while this won't mean you own a home, at least you'll have somewhere to live, a roof over your head. Like, that's a human right, don't you think? Oh, federal government action on animal and plant extinctions. So he's against that. Increasing availability of abortion drugs. Oh, controversial. Peter Dutton does not want you to have an abortion drug. Which, if you don't know, abortion drugs, I think, is mainly Mifepristone, I think. And it's basically something that you can take, I think. You know what? I'm gonna look it up because I do not want to give out misinformation. Mifepristone. Oh, Misoprostol. So there's, oh, it seems like there's a few different ones. Medical abortion medicine. Okay. Look at this. If you've taken MS2 step and have heavy vaginal bleeding, filling more than 2 maxi pads every 30 minutes for more than 2 hours, passing clots larger than a tennis ball. Clots larger than a tennis ball! Holy shit. Okay, MS2 step includes Mifepristone and Misoprostol as taken for medical abortions. It can be used to terminate a pregnancy of up to 63 days after your last period. Stops pregnancy from continuing and causes the muscles of the uterus to contract to help open up the cervix and push out the contents of the uterus. Pregnancies rarely continue after MS2 step, but sometimes you may need surgery if it doesn't work. Right, so 63 days after, so that's 63 days of pregnancy. So what's that, like 2 months? Okay. Yeah, so what can you expect after taking MS2 step? Okay, like you'll be able to continue with your normal activities, you'll have bleeding for a couple days. After taking the Misoprostol tablets, you should stay home and rest for 3 hours. Vaginal bleeding will occur usually within 4 hours and can range from light to heavy. Dude, so after 2 months and you take that, you basically just get a period. That's it. That's it. And Peter Dutton does not want that in our life. He doesn't want that. Now let's read this. Therapeutic Goods Amendment. Whoa. People who are for increasing the availability of abortion drugs would have voted yes. We have 53 yes and 5 no's in the Labour Party. Okay. Oh, are we gonna see if Bob Catter was there and he said no. Okay, Bob Catter, you actually finally turned around. So, oh, we have something interesting happening here. In the Liberal Party, 37 yes, 35 no. The National Party, 3 yes, 7 no. Wow. So in total, 95 yes and 50 no's. Wow. Okay. Okay, the background. Bill was introduced in order to transfer the responsibility for regulatory approval of RU 486 from Minister for Health and Aging to the Therapeutic Goods Administration. This will make it possible to evaluate, register, and list or import abortifacients, such as medicines intended for abortion, for use in Australia without the approval of the minister. Huh, okay. Without the approval for the minister? Okay. Increasing consumer protections. Now, Australia is actually quite well known for their consumer protection laws, which is very interesting. So, Peter Dutton is against increasing consumer protections. Wow. That sounds bad, but let's read the bill. Wow, we are just I feel like this is just such a podcast episode, isn't it? Okay, so background. Relates to the regulation of consumer protection, competition, licensing, and telecommunication markets. Okay. Improving the conditions for competition in telecommunication markets by requiring Telstra to be structurally or functionally separated. Making telecommunications access regime less susceptible to deliberate delay and obstruction. Removing technical impediment to the operations of anti-competitive conduct regimes, so like having a monopoly, I guess. Clarifying universal service obligation and customer service guarantee to make it more enforceable. Enabling breaches of civil penalty provisions. Honestly, kind of boring. Whatever. Okay, well, I feel like that wasn't as dramatic as it sounded. But I'm all for that, to be honest. Telstra is a piece of shit. Telstra's a piece of shit. I'm actually with Aldi Mobile. And I do great with Aldi Mobile. I much prefer it. I only pay like $17, $19 for my phone plan. That, granted, I don't use my phone data that much, so. But I'm so glad to not be fucking. I used to be with Vodafone, and one day my Vodafone just stopped working. I think it was my phone. I think they weren't supporting my phone anymore. That's my thinking, but it was so annoying because I just paid for phone data. I was out and about and trying to get home, and I just didn't have service all of a sudden. So then I buy some more data thinking, oh, I just need to top up, I guess. Didn't fucking fix it, and then that was like $20 fucking just wasted because it just wouldn't work on my phone anymore. I don't know why. You know what, looking back on it, I probably just need a new SIM card maybe. After that though, I was so done with it. I've never had a problem with my Aldi phone. Not once. And I've been on Aldi since like 2018 or something. So, fuck Vodafone. Alright, increasing funding for university education. He doesn't want that. Alright, let's have a look. University revenue for teaching will be reduced by nearly $1 billion. Funding costs strawberry. Oh my god. This bill will implement part of the government's Job Ready Graduates package, include major proposed higher education funding changes. Okay. If successful in its current form, the bill will decrease the subsidy for most areas of humanities and social science, as well as in engineering science, science surveying, environmental studies, and other areas. Oh wow, I wonder why Peter Dutton wouldn't want people studying environmental studies. On the other hand, it will increase the subsidy for most health fields, education, mathematics, and other areas. Okay. At the same time, the bill will set new maximum student contribution amounts, which means the degree costs for students are going to change significantly. Humanities, law, and commerce degrees are going to increase in price, while mathematics, agriculture, and certain science degrees will decrease. Oh, okay, so... Oh. Why? Sometimes such as is the case... sometimes such as in the case of engineering, changes appear somewhat contradictory. Both the subsidy for engineering and the maximum student contribution rate is being reduced. Alright, it sounds complicated. It sounds like I need to do more research into that. Honestly, I'm all for doing a more in-depth video about all this stuff and actually researching it more myself. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here, like, wow, reproductive bodily autonomy. Okay, well, whatever. Peter Dutton basically wants you to not have, bodily autonomy. That's awesome. Let's have a look, actually. What is this? Oh, this is a long one. Okay, I think it's okay. Discrimination, Schedule 1. I don't know. After sex, insert sexual orientation, gender identity, potential pregnancy, breastfeed. What? Discrimination matter means the following. A matter mentioned in what is this? Yeah, I think this is why we need to do research outside. The Green said no. What is this bill? Okay, maybe we need to look at a previous one? That's anti-discrimination. Peter Dutton was actually absent for it, so let's go to the next one down below. Okay, we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. There's been a few times when I've tried to use this site and it just... slow. It's very slow. But I like it, and you know what? You can use this website to check any party member you want. Check your locals. See if the people you vote for in your local elections are doing what they said they'd do. Okay, Bill's amendments will ensure that when enforcing these bills, regard must be had to the indivisibility and universality of human rights and their equal status. Okay. Marriage Act. SPS has provided a good summary of the more controversial parts of the bill. According to this summary, the key areas of concern were the parts of the bill that allowed religious schools to discriminate on the basis of sexuality and gender identity. The statement of belief that seems to protect people expressing religious beliefs, even if they're offensive, and therefore seem to override existing anti-discrimination protections. Oh, the fact that the bill does not outlaw vilification of people of faith. What? Yeah, again, one of those things where I feel like I really need to read more up on that. Wow. He's against transgender rights. Okay. Well, okay, we've looked a lot into... Oh, he doesn't want to do stem cell research. Okay. Okay, Queen. So let's look more into what is Peter Dutton actually for. What does he vote for? Well, I've got a bunch of stuff up here. Most importantly, Peter Dutton is voting consistently for reducing corporate tax rate. Yes. Peter Dutton wants to get rid of... wait. He wants to reduce corporate tax rate. Sorry. So, something that we are wanting to do and that we're looking forward to more as a society is the concept of actually taxing big corporations for what they actually should be taxed. Now, the way our government is set up, it's set up so that people like fucking Shell, the big petrol conglomerate, they don't pay, I don't think, any taxes at all. And yet, us regular folk are expected to pay all the taxes. I mean, I just look at the amount of money that my partner could make, and the amount that he's taxed is ridiculous, and it's fucking noticeable. And so the idea is that if we tax the corporations what they should be taxed, our taxes are not going to go up. In fact, they probably even go down. Regular people shouldn't be paying for all this shit. It should be the big corporations who make all the money. But instead they get taxed nothing because of loopholes. So, let's have a look at this. Reducing corporate tax rate. Alright. Let's have a look. Progressively extend the lower 27.5% corporate tax rate to all. What? Corporate tax entities by the 2023-24 financial year, and further reduce the corporate tax rate in stages so that by the 2026-27 financial year, the corporate tax rate for all entities will be 25%. Okay. Oh, the Greens actually voted no on that. Oh, the entire Labour Party voted no on that as well. I'm so confused. Bob Catter was absent again. Who's surprised? So, Liberal and National Party were very for this. Treasury Law Amended Enterprise Bill that so progressively extend the reborn the Bill's Digest. Yes, please. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Purpose of the bill. What is this website? Oh my god. Is this really what Australian websites look like? Jesus Christ. There has to be an easy way to do this. Alright, so we have all these treasury laws. Consistently for reducing the oh, they want to reduce corporate tax rate. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I'm so all over the place. Yeah, I'm happy to do a follow-up video like next week and actually go through all these things and like summarize them. I'm very happy to do that because I would love to be more educated on this. So he's against he voted consistently against extending okay, we read that. He wants to privatize government-owned assets. Ooh, privatization. That's a topic we can talk about. So the background to the bill. 2013 election campaign, the coalition said that it would be an infrastructure-focused government and committed to finding ways to encourage the private sector to become more involved in infrastructure financing. Amending the National Building Program, the Act, to allow partnerships and non-corporate Commonwealth entities such as public-private partnerships to be funded. The bill also renames the Act. Okay. Labour voted no. Greens voted no. Bob Catter was absent. Maybe he's just sick, you know? He's on sick leave. Okay, so I guess this has something to do with privatizing. This has something to do with the Medibank private sale bill. Oh. Okay. Land Transport Infrastructure Amendment. That is quite a mouthful. It was called the Roads to Recovery Program. Page not found. Sweet. Well, okay, privatizing government assets. Yay. Okay, Peter Dutton voted consistently for increasing the price of subsidized medicine. Awesome. You know how you go to the fucking pharmacy and your medicine costs like maybe like $20 to $30? Well, maybe even $15. Say goodbye to that. Let's have a read of it though. The bill implements one of the measures proposed by the government as part of the 2014-15 budget. Will amend the pharmaceuticals benefit schemes, PBS medicine, and the repatriation pharmaceutical benefit scheme. Increase the concession patient co-payment by 80 cents from 1st of January 2015. Increase the general patient co-payment by $5. Increase the concessional safety net threshold by two prescriptions each year for 4 years. Increase the general patient safety net threshold by 10% each year. Okay. Passed by a small majority. So people who are for increasing the price of subsidized medicine would have voted yes. Greens voted no. Labour voted no. Bob Catter was absent, who's surprised. And the Liberal and National Party all voted yes. Clive Palmer was also absent. Oh dear. Not Clive Palmer. Wow, okay, so this ended up passing. So if you noticed an increase of your medicine, I guess this was in 2014, oh my god. Okay. Well, that's Pog. Peter Dutton voted consistently for privatizing certain government services. What's this? National Cancer Screening Register Bill? Privatizing cancer screening? Are you serious? Well, that's gonna go over well. I guess something to consider is this is taking in the historically what have people voted for. It's a comprehensive look at the political figures. Okay, the majority voted against amendments introduced by Labour MP Catherine King, which means they were unsuccessful. Okay, there's two bills under discussion. National Cancer Screening Register Bill and National Cancer Screening Registration or Register Consequential and Transitional Provisions. What the fuck is this? Yeah, okay. These are very important amendments, and Catherine says. They go to the heart of Labour's concerns with the National Cancer Screening Register. This is a very serious debate we are having here. This is a debate about not only who will hold some of the most sensitive health information, but the future possibilities of the private for-profit sector in the health space. I don't believe anything should be for-profit when it comes to healthcare. I think that that is a as we can see from America's point of view, that is a terrible thing to have. For profit, I mean, we have been talking extensively about healthcare in America and how it has gotten so out of control, it's insane. It costs literally like $1 million just to have a baby in America. My god. Okay. The amendments I have moved very strongly say that we do not believe that we should have a for-profit company running this register. I'll make it very clear that we will be moving amendments in the Senate as well. And the House should support, because if we do not, it is the thin end of the wedge when it comes to this government privatizing our Medicare system. Yes, we don't want privatization of our healthcare. We do not want that. That is stupid. And if you want that, you don't understand that you don't want that. Adam Bent was absent. Labour Party voted 66 yes. Liberal and National Party 57 no, 15 no. So no, the no's have it. This did not go in, so okay. Peter Dutton voted consistently for increasing the Medicare levy to pay for the National Disability Insurance Scheme. So he wants us to pay for the NDIS, which again goes back to my other point about how if we tax big corporations for what they actually should be fucking taxed on, we wouldn't need to pay for this. But because they want to suck us up for every penny we have, we're going to end up paying for it. This happened in 2017? Okay, so they voted to read it for a second time. What does the bill do? Is part of a package will increase the Medicare levy from 2% to 2.5% of a person's taxable income. Wow, Labour actually voted no for that. Isn't that crazy? Bob Catter was there and he voted yes. So, if you agree that the federal government should fund the Commonwealth's contribution by increasing Medicare levy for all Australians, if you agree that your taxes should go up to pay for the NDIS, then you would have voted yes. But guess what? Labour actually says we don't think that the Medicare levy should cover the NDIS. You should not be paying extra tax to cover that. You should not. But unfortunately we had 75 yes, so that actually did go through. So the reason why your fucking Medicare levy is so high is because of this guy. So, I don't know how you feel about that, but that is a fact of the matter. Peter Dutton voted consistently for increasing indexation of HECS-HELP debts. Okay, so he wants. Okay, so all right, let's look at this. So the majority agreed to pass the bill. They agreed to read it for a third time. This means the bill will now go to the Senate, see if the senators agree with the members of Parliament. And if they do, it'll become law. The bill essentially replicates the previous Higher Education Research Reform Bill Amendment 2014, which was rejected by the Senate, I guess in 2014? What? Last year? Okay. These measures include deregulating university fees by removing any restrictions on the amount that universities can charge students for tuition in Commonwealth-supported places. Indexing HECS-HELP debts by the 10-year bond rate, which will cap with a cap of 6%, instead of the generally lower consumer price index. So it's currently indexed at the CPI. Okay, what is this? It's calculated as a weighted average price of a market basket, consumer goods and services. Wow, that is okay. So I guess TLDR, it's lower, but this would make it higher. Allowing universities to charge postgraduate students in research degrees fees up to a fixed cap. Currently, they don't have to pay tuition fees. What? Charge postgraduate students in research degrees fees? They don't actually have— what? Okay. Tony Abbott's government announced a series of changes to government funding arrangements, and this bill is one of those changes. Labour all voted no. Bob Catter was absent. The Liberal and National Party all voted yes. Clyde Palmer wasn't there. So 78 yes, 54 no. So basically, hey, universities, you can charge whatever the fuck you want. I guess. Okay, well, that's that. He wants to increase indexation of HECS and HELP. So if you notice that your HECS indexation was crazy. Wait, when was this? 2015? Damn, yeah, I think that fucking affected me. Shit. 10-year bond rate with a cap at 60%. Damn. This is Bill's Digest. I'd have to read that in my own time. But I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Okay, so more expensive education. POG. He voted consistently for increasing the cost of humanities degrees. Now, if you don't know, humanities degrees, there's a variety of them, right? Social sciences, natural sciences, performing arts. You know, humanities is the studies of the history of humans. As we all know, the history of everything is very important. It adds a lot of context. It reminds us of things that happened that we should not forget. I would say studying our history is very important. How humans interact. Studying how humans interact. I mean, it's an interesting thing, and if you're interested in that thing, then you should be able to study it. All the various human cultures around the world. Again, one of the beautiful things about being human is how different we all are. Isn't that wonderful? Like, you can go to a different country and experience just like a totally different world. It's like literally going to the cinema and watching Avatar 2, Way of the Water. You get to experience something so mind-blowing. All the various human societies around the world and how cultures and societies develop. Again, I think how cultures and societies develop is a very important thing. It's integral to the just everything that we do, and we absolutely should be thinking of that because it's inherent with our nature. It's inherent with how we live. And so if someone wants to study that, fuck yeah, right? Now, a lot of people look at this and roll your eyes and be like, why the fuck are we studying performance arts? We should all become scientists and try to cure cancer. I think what the right does a lot is they go, well, realistically, we need more doctors, we need more nurses, and so we're not going to make that more affordable. We're not going to make the pay better. We're not going to make their lives better in any way, shape, or form. What we're going to do is we're going to make everything else more expensive so that becomes, well, fuck, can't do what I'm actually interested in, so might as well become a fucking nurse because that's the cheaper degree. I think that I generally don't see a reason for increasing the cost of humanities degrees. A lot of people argue that it's a waste of time. A lot of people argue that art degrees are a waste of time. And to that, I say, I reject that. I reject that hypothesis. I reject that point of view completely. I didn't take an art degree. No, no, instead I got a degree in fucking game design. Like a little idiot. I'm kidding. I think that higher education isn't necessarily about being the best lawyer in the world, being like a doctor in fucking neuroscience or whatever the fuck. Higher education is broadening the way that you think. It's more than just, I'm getting a degree because I'm gonna get a high-paying job in this corporate field. It's about learning a new way of thinking. It's about becoming more independent. It's about learning how to study more and bring that into your everyday life. Like the way that I study now, when I make studies for videos, I have this work ethic that I got from university. Like university is a fantastic place to be because it really teaches you how to be more disciplined, and the people you learn from, they can really influence the way that you live your life. They can really influence how you go on through your adult life. And I think that everyone should go to university. I know a lot of people hate essay writing, they hate reading and stuff, but I genuinely think that people hate that stuff because it's just not taught as well as it should be in school. Like English and grammar, it's just not taught the way it should be. Everyone is so behind on their English and grammar skills because you basically learn it for like a couple of years when you're like a child, and then that's it, see ya, figure it out. Now you're just gonna read fucking all these corny ass books instead, and then most people don't understand what the books even mean because they haven't done enough reading outside of school. Reading outside of school is also so important. It's so good for you too. Like, and even if it's like manga or whatever, like read manga, just read something. It's so important, and a lot of people don't get that. And this is coming from someone who needed special help when it came to English. I was really far behind in English compared to everyone else, and so I got the school had a program to help kids who were behind, and part of the program was just reading books outside of school. And you know, they were really simple books, and then I was able to move on to like much more complex stuff. And then it got to a point where every time we did the NAP plan, my English skills were always far above everyone else's. And I don't mean that as like a humble brag or whatever. I just mean that like at one point I really struggled with English and I hated it. I didn't get it. I couldn't spell. My friends made fun of me for not being able to spell because they were bullies. And yeah, so they weren't really my friends, I guess. But yeah, and then like at the end of the day, yeah, reading, it's so important. And if you don't have someone who encourages you to do that, you need to be that person for yourself. You need to read. And I'm not saying you need to read some boring ass fucking dusty old book. Read whatever the fuck you want. Just do it. Just do it, you know? Anyway, and don't be ashamed by the size of the books that you read. If you read like a book that's like very thin, good on you. Just fucking do it. It's fun. It's good. And you know, all the time when I'm reading like older books from like older decades, because I inherited like a lot of books, I love to look up words that I don't understand. Like I read I think I read Jane Austen. Is it Jane Austen? I don't remember. I remember having to look up so many words. I'd look up the words, I'd look up the definitions, and I'd put them on my wall, and I'd look at them like every day and be like, I'm gonna use this word one day. And it's awesome. Anyway, so I just think that increasing degree cost is stupid, especially specific degrees, because it's this artificial way of trying to get people into this other sector because, well, we need people in this sector, but they don't actually want to increase the incentives there. They don't actually want to make those living conditions better. So I would much rather see someone, if I'm voting for someone, I would much rather see them be like, hey, let's pay like healthcare workers more. Let's make sure that healthcare workers have more like protections. Let's make sure that like they're actually able to live their life. That's what I would want to see. I don't want to see this cowardly shit, which is, like I said, artificial. Alright, this is a big one, guys. This is a very, very fucking big one. And I want you to listen real hard to this one, because it's, Peter Dutton wants to get rid of penalty rates. Now, at first it sounds like, well, that's good. This is Sunday and public holiday penalty rates. So, if you are a worker, and you are given work on, I guess, Sundays, or on, like, fucking Australia Day or some shit, you know that the paycheck you're gonna get for working that day, because it's a big sacrifice. You're sacrificing your Sunday. No one wants to work on a fucking Sunday, but sometimes you have to do it. Sometimes we need people on a Sunday. Sometimes people get called out for jobs. Whether you're like a fucking plumber, where you're like a... You know... And so Peter Dutton actually wants to get rid of this. He wants to make sure that if you get called out on a Sunday, on Australia Day, on Christmas Day, you get the same amount of pay that you would on a regular working day. Are you fucking serious? What kind of fucking monster wants to do that? That is so fucked. Or, like, that is so fucked. If that's how that is, that's fucked. Let's look at this. Okay, the majority voted against an amendment requested by the Federation Chamber, which is a debating committee. So, the amendment did fail. Okay, well, I guess obviously, yeah, it failed because people can still get paid extra nice money on public holidays. Okay, amendment text, that all words after that be omitted with a... Okay, well. 1. Abandon its support of the decision of the Fair Work Commission to cut penalty rates because it will mean nearly 700,000 Australians will take home a pay cut by up to $77 a week. What does the bill do? Prohibit terms of modern award or an enterprise agreement requiring the benefit of an employee to be made to any fund other than superannuation. Require registered organizations to adopt and periodically review financial by specific disclosure by registered organizations and employers of the financial benefits obtained by them to introduce a range of new penalties relating to compliance. What? Votes not passed by a small majority. People who are for getting rid of Sunday and public holiday penalty rates would have voted no. Oh my god, my brain is not working at the moment. This is written so weirdly. You can see why I was behind when I was a child. People who want to get rid of Sunday and public holiday rates would have voted no. Okay. Labour, 64 yes. So Labour was actually like, hang on, we don't want to get rid of Sunday and public holiday penalty rates. Even Bob Catter was there and he said yes. Wow. Yeah, so Liberal and National Party all said no. 68 yes, 74 no. Okay, so wow. I'm sorry, some of these are so confusing to work with. Protecting vulnerable workers. Oh my god, he doesn't want to protect vulnerable workers? My god, could this guy get any more, like, comically villainous? What's another one? He voted consistently for increasing eligibility requirements for Australian citizenship. Okay. That sounds like a doozy of a thing to go over. Honestly, I think the penalty rates for me is a really big one, because in this current economy, in this current climate, when I can see that, like, when my partner works those weekends, when he works those public holidays, he knows he's going to get paid so good, despite the taxes, because the taxes are crazy. But he knows he's going to get a real bump in his pay, and that bump in the pay actually makes a significant development in his savings. It's like probably one of the core ways that I can imagine any Australian, any working class Australian, will be able to make a pathway towards owning a home. And that to me is pretty significant. That's pretty significant. And the fact that you have to do all this extra work in order to be able to save up for a home, and the fact that Peter Dutton doesn't want that, he wants to get rid of it. That's crazy. Okay, so let's have a look. Wow, even Pauline Hanson is generally against getting rid of... She's against it. And look at the people who vote consistently against getting rid of public and Sunday holiday penalty rates. We got Anthony Albanese, Adam Bandt of the Greens, and all the rest of these people. I don't know who these people are. Susan's against it? Yo, even Bill Shorten's against it? I don't know much about Bill Shorten, to be honest. You know, I don't see no Julian Hill out here, do I? I don't know much about Julian Hill either. You know what? I think it's time we went and did a deep dive on Australian politics. Oh my god. I've done a lot about it now. Bob Catter, there's the man who's absent. I mean, look at him. It's probably... There's probably a good reason why he's absent so often. But we can't say anything concrete about these people when it comes to down to it. But yeah. Yeah, Matthew Canavan voted generally for getting rid of that stuff. Wow. But if you wanna know who to hate on over here, check these people out. Where is there he is, Peter Dutton, right there. Voted consistently for getting rid of Sunday and public holiday penalty rates. Love that. Love that a lot. Very awesome, very cool. And then he wants to increase requirements for Australian citizenship, which everyone's going to have some opinions about. And I don't know if I can be bothered going that far into it at the moment. Labour Party said no. Bob Catter? Absent. I'm just checking for that at this point. Was Bob Catter absent? Yes. Most likely, yes. So yeah, there you have it. That is, I guess, a summary of Peter Dutton and his voting habits. If you want to look into this further, I 1000% encourage you to go and look at this website, theyvoteforyou.org.au. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool website, and it really gives you access to all the websites outsourced that you need to look at to look further into the bills and what they mean. Because I do think sometimes you read like the headline here and you're like, what does that mean? And then you actually read the bill and you're like, okay. That being said, it is all very a lot to take in. So I think we would be due for doing a lot more research into it. But yeah, that's kind of what it is. That's what it's about. I didn't get to touch on the Lizzo subject today, which is fine. I mean, it was... I don't know if we're going to touch on it next week. I don't think it'll be relevant in the news. I don't think it was relevant in the news to begin with, honestly. But yeah, and look, I know people are going to have opinions about this because the whole Peter Dutton voting thing is very controversial at the moment. A lot of people kind of view him as like the guy who's going to make everything affordable for us, but then you actually look at like what he really votes for, and what he really votes for doesn't reflect what he's saying he's going to do, which from my perspective is pretty shady. I already feel like we can call into question his I don't know, it just seems like not truthful, and I'm not gonna vote for someone who's not truthful, because then it's like, what else are they lying about, right? What else are they lying about? Seriously, are you gonna listen to like an ad campaign funded by the person, which is obviously going to try and put them in the best light possible? Or are you going to go and actually investigate what they really vote for and what they really mean? It's up to you, honestly. And if you still decide after this video that you like Peter Dutton, then okay. Okay, alright. That's fine, I guess. But that being said, I will look into more of this stuff and we will make a video for next Monday. And we'll actually go into some of the bills more in depth, I think. Maybe like the more like key ones. And then we'll have a look at like the opposition, right? Because I know a lot of people don't like the Greens, like even like left-leaning people. They don't like the Green Party. I don't exactly know why, because I'm just not educated on that point. So it'd be nice to look into that too. So we'll see what next week's episode's gonna be like. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I've already been doing this for like an hour and a half, which is crazy. But my voice is going, so alright guys, have a great rest of your week. Let's get some shit going this week, huh? I had a great weekend. I'm looking forward to making this week successful and good. So I hope you are too. So be like me and have some water. And have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. If you care. If you care about Australian politics, I'll see you next week. Alright. Goodbye.